Hi, I'm Jack Canfield, co-author of the New York Times #1 best-selling series Chicken Soup for the Soul, co-author of The Success Principles and a featured teacher in the movie The Secret. And I'm sitting here today with Mark Given, who I'm going to interview, who I've been talking off camera with. I find to be one of the more interesting and fun people I've ever interacted with. So I'm looking forward to our interview today. So let's start by this. Just tell our viewers a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, Jack, I've spent nearly 40 years studying the science and the art of building trust. And I have written several books on that directed towards trust-based leadership and trust-based selling and trust-based success. And I travel the country and doing mostly keynotes and breakout sessions, half-day or full-day sessions, sometimes multi-day sessions on teaching the four steps or the four stages of trust is what I call it, to companies and organizations and associations and groups that want to succeed by understanding the importance of building trust with their customers and clients, or with their staff, with their employees, with the people they serve, even their families. So it's fun, it's exciting, it's interesting to see people when the lights come on and they realize that trust is the foundation of everything, and when people lose trust, it's difficult to rebound. So those four stages that we've discovered are important and critical to success, are relevant to what all of us do.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to ask you about those four stages in a moment.
Good.
But before I do that, I know you're very passionate about what you do. So how did you get into trust being your focus, and why are you so passionate about it?
Well, probably a lot of reasons for that. First of all, when I graduated from college, all I ever really wanted to do was be in business, and so I went into retail and did that for 20 years and had a pretty successful company in North Carolina and Virginia and in retail. And what I discovered was that if my employees didn't trust me, they would steal from me. If they didn't like me, they would. And if our customers didn't trust us, then they would do business with somebody else. And I sold that company, and then I got into real estate, and I discovered it was exactly the same thing with my customers and clients and all of the other people I worked with, even within the industry and the real estate, that when there's no trust, it's very difficult to succeed. And on top of all that, probably the most important thing is that my lovely bride and I have 5 children, and we meant to do that. And what I've discovered in life is that when you destroy trust with your spouse or you destroy trust with your children, it's critical to happiness and success. It's tough to be successful in life when there's no foundation of trust there. So I started studying that years ago, not realizing that I was studying the art and the science of trust, but I read books, and including books like yours, A Chicken Soup for the Soul. It talks, really many of those stories talk about trust and love and care and how people feel. Success Principles is the same way. Many other good, really powerful books. And I discovered it as I studied it, there's really an art to building trust, and there's no tricks to it. It's just a science and an art to understanding how to be trustworthy and how people can really count on you and care about you, and it's built on you showing the same thing to them. So it's been exciting to spend all these years really studying the art and science of trust.
Well, it's funny, I hadn't thought of this in years, but I'm a human potential trainer. I run workshops and so forth. And one of the first workshops I ever took was with a guy named Jack Gibb, who wrote a book called Trust. And he taught this model called TORI. Trust, T-O-R-I. Trust leads to openness. Openness leads to self-realization and realization of others. And that leads to interdependence and independence instead of codependence and dominant dependence.
Sure.
I mean, that's so cool. So thank you for reminding me of one of the major pillars of my own consciousness.
Sure.
So we talked about the 4 stages of trust. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, what we've discovered in our own studies, there's nothing out there other than what we've done to individualize these 4 stages of trust, but there really are 4 stages, and the first stage is really the introduction stage, or what I call the grand opening. There's all kinds of studies out there that show people make a decision on you and me, and we form the same opinions in 38 to 55 milliseconds, people form an opinion on us, whether they like us or can trust us, whether they want to associate with us or do business with us, whether they want to be around us or not be around us that quickly. So the grand opening is just the first stage of trust. How do we perform at a high level so that we have our best grand opening? Then the second stage of trust is pretty important also. We call that the rapport building stage, and that's where you get to know people. It's really more about learning to ask good questions and then really listening for the answers. There's an old Chinese proverb that says, listen with the intent to hear. And what I've discovered is that when you spend more time asking and listening, it's amazing how much you can learn about people and how you build a foundation of trust.
My wife always says to me, you want to focus on being more interested than being interesting.
That's right.
Exactly.
You can go a lot farther by being interested.
Exactly.
So then the third stage of trust is the maintenance stage, and that's where we do all the things that are important to maintain trust, and we do that really more by serving and being a giver than a taker. And we all find people that are givers to be the kind of people we want to associate with. So it's all the skills necessary to learn how to be more giving. Bob Berg and John David Mann wrote a great book called The Go-Giver. It's a very simple book.
I read that book.
But that principle, and it's so really profound. I've gotten to know both Bob and John for the reason that I wanted to. I mean, it's such an important book. So it's being a giver instead of a taker. Then the last stage of trust is the one that we all need, because sometimes we mess up no matter how good we are, how smart we are. It's the apology stage, it's the repair stage. So it's the science and the study of how do you apologize, how do you repair the damage once you've made a mistake. And that really relates to companies. I mean, gosh, how many articles are there every day now online about some airline or some problem out there that some company has damaged trust with their customers, or it relates to business, it relates to life and our own relationships with people. So those four kind of important stages, and they're very separate because the skills necessary for each are very different. So that's why I spend the time teaching people how to be their best in each of the four stages.
Now I wish I had 3 hours, so I would love you to unpack all four of those in depth. But I will ask you one follow-up question. You talked about the grand opening, and you had 55 milliseconds. That's 55 thousandths of a second.
That's right.
Which is like, how do you even measure that? But give us a clue or something about how do you, in that 55 thousandths of a second, what can or should someone do?
Well, a lot of it is the way you look, it's your facial expressions, it's the way you dress. Those are the simple things. The more complex one, we've discovered that if just in those brief, just a little beyond the 55 milliseconds, when you do the opening, the standard opening that we've all been taught, the greeting, is a two-step, what we call a two-step greeting. It's hi, I'm, and it's focused really on ourselves. And what we've learned is that when we teach people a three-step greeting instead of the two-step greeting, that it changes the way people feel about us. And as simple as that may sound, it's not simplistic. So we spend some time when we're teaching the grand opening for people to go from a two-step greeting to a three-step greeting, which opens up a whole new realm of trust.
And what are those 3 steps?
The 3 steps is simple. You go from it's about me to it's about you. So in other words, instead of saying, hi, I'm, you would say, hi, it's good to see you. Appreciate the opportunity for us to be here, Jack. And thank you for doing this. So you would actually use the word you
several
twice
times there, yeah,
instead of me. Instead of hey or hi or hello, I'm. It's hello, it's good to see you. Thank you for seeing me. Boy, I sure appreciate your time today. And when you get done with the 3 steps, or the initial 2 steps, then you get to the I'm Mark Given. But what we've also found is that when people go from a 2-step greeting to a 3-step greeting, they more often walk away and actually remember the name of the person that they just were introduced to.
Interesting.
And so often we would, the 2-step greeting, you walk away and you forget, now what was their name again? And we take memory courses and we try to do all these things. And just going from a 2-step greeting to a 3-step greeting is a remarkable change in the science of trust, building trust.
Fascinating. That's fascinating. I'd love to interview you about all this. have to take your course if you have one. So here's the deal. You are passionate about this.
I am.
And you've talked about why you're so passionate about it. There are a lot of people talking about trust. I mean, I know that Stephen M. Marcovey and so forth. So what makes your work different?
Well, what we've learned is that there's really not a single person, there's not a company or an association or organization out there that doesn't benefit from our programs and teaching steps. Instead of just a concept of building trust, we actually teach people how to do it, the steps on how to do it. And we do it in those different formats, in a keynote or a breakout or a half or full day session, so that we can actually delve into those 4 different stages of trust and teach them the techniques. So there are a lot of motivational speakers out there, and certainly we motivate. But the difference I feel, and what makes me so passionate about this, is when we're out there and when I'm out there speaking and I see people's the light comes on and they think, oh, I can use that.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, how did I not know that? Or how did I miss that? Or gosh, I just made that mistake. Or, I said something or I did something and here's how I fix it. It's just exciting to get those emails or a note or something from somebody that says, thanks for teaching me that, and thanks for help. Here's what happened as a result. I went home and did this, or I had a customer, a client, that my best client that I had really messed it up, and I've been able to repair that because of a technique. So it's exciting to get up in the morning and get out and do what I do, because it changes lives. It changes businesses.
It's so sad that our schools don't teach these skills.
Sure.
And we learn, I always tell people, tell me the 5 causes of the Civil War. No one can even remember them. We study that for days and weeks, but we're not learning communication skills, relationship skills, self-management skills. And it's like we have to go into the hotels and the conference centers to learn what's really important. And you're out there doing that. That's great. So when you look at the clients you have, are there common challenges that people are facing out there in relation to this, and how do you help them address those?
Yeah, what I've found mostly is that we all make mistakes. We all want the same thing, and that's to build trust with people that we care about, or people we want to associate with, or people we want to do business with. And so the real challenge that people have is we all experience the same thing. We have good days and we have bad days, and when we have those bad days, we need some methods to improve and to repair. Just look at the statistics on marriages these days, and you can see that clearly there's some need there. And although I spend the majority of my time in the business world, relationship world, marital world could probably use the techniques and skills too. So it's really exciting and fun to get out and help people see that they can do it. It's not about what I've learned or sharing some things. It's what they can actually go and apply immediately.
And I'm sure you find too, like I know from my work, if I do a corporate training, the people take those same skills home with their wife, with their neighbors, in their church, with their children, in their community.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, very good. So if someone's sitting out there watching this, they're probably thinking, yeah, I don't know all that stuff about phases of trust and how to do it, and I've lost some business because of perhaps betraying a trust or not knowing how to build that rapport and trust, and they're thinking about perhaps hiring you to work with them. What would you tell them?
Oh, I'd say please give me a call.
Clear and simple.
Please give me a call, because I'm pretty confident that there's something, whether you're a leader and trying to build trust with your organization, your staff, or your employees, or whether you're a salesperson, as an example, and you're trying to build trust with your clients or customers, or you're just trying to build a successful life. What I would say is, more than likely, we have some things, without even questioning, because I know we do, that given just even a little bit of a time in a 70-minute keynote, it's amazing how much we can share that people can apply immediately, so that they can go home and actually do something. And that's what's fun, is to see them go home and do something. So call me. They can markgiven.com. It's easy to find me. So, and I hope that
you're not in the witness protection
I'm
program.
not. You can find me.
Very good, very good. Well, Mark, this is fascinating. I think trust is a critical, it's like a foundational thing that everything else is built on. And if you don't have it, nothing moves forward.
Sure.
So thanks for being my guest today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely my pleasure.
So if you want to build more trust in your relationships, in your organization, if you want to teach your people, whether they're salespeople, managers, whatever it might be, at your association meeting, your convention, your conference, in-house workshops, whatever, Mark Given can help you do that. So check out his website, markgiven.com.